So joining me on the Lewis Nichols show today, let's say hello to Kris James, who he's got a normal background now, but when we started this call, you were like in space with the background that you had.
Yeah, this is the first time of using Zoom before. I've done it once with friends, but I've never actually set it up myself. So yeah, at least we got it. We got it. Now I'm in a less. I'm in the living room now, so you can see I'm in a less fantastic background.
So how are you doing? How are you keeping? How did you find the whole kind of lockdown?
Well, it was a bit strange, really, because I mean, I've been planning on starting to tour, but then of course when it all broke out, it was like, so I decided to come over to Spain for provisionally a few weeks, but now they've introduced like a quarantine for another 2 weeks, so I'm going to wait here until that ends, which I think will probably be sometime middle of August, beginning of the end of next month. So, but yeah, on the whole, it was quite good. I took up skipping, I picked up the guitar again, was writing loads of music, and not drinking, so I was very healthy. So I kind of came out of it a lot healthier than I went in. So, which is unlike most of my musical friends, they've all gained loads of weight, and it's just crazy. They're not very happy.
And so, obviously having so much time during the lockdown, did that help you in regards to songwriting? Having kind of your own space just to think and put pen to paper, did it help you in that sense?
Well, yeah, it did, because it kind of gives you the best time to write songs is when you're on your own. You've got no interferences. It's such a strange thing to do if you. I can't do it if I'm surrounded by people. I'm very I have to concentrate on one thing at a time. But the thing is, I've probably got about 4 records worth of material, so I kind of writing too much at the moment, because you don't write a great song every time. One great song comes out to probably 10 attempts. So I have written quite a lot of songs. Some songs about the situation we find ourselves in as well, like just wanting to break out. But yeah, I picked up a bit of cooking as well. I mean, what else can you do but cook, write, train. I thank goodness that I bought a home gym, so I was able to train most days. As I said, this skipping's great because you just do it on the spot, and you reserve. You don't have to have lots of space. So I've become an avid skipper, which is great. The first week was agony, but now my legs are toned up now. But it's a nightmare, because it's constantly up and down every few. But so I've written some great new stuff, but I think it will go on the next record, because I've already kind of finished this album now, and it's just about staggering the releases over the next few months.
I mean, listening to your tracks as well, especially on Spotify, your songs are very relatable. So when you come to actually write songs, do you use stuff that's happened to you in your own life or your friends or your family? How does that kind of process work for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So generally, I always, you have to bear in mind that you're writing for the consumer, for the listener. So I always write I feel as human beings, we all have similar experiences, whether it's falling in love, breaking up, going on holiday, having a great time, or just wanting to get out of the situation. I wrote a song called Anymore, which is about just escapism from your day-to-day run-of-the-mill lifestyle, It's like getting out with the person that you love into the sunshine or under the moonlight. So I mean, for me, I do write about all of the songs that I've released so far are about things that have happened to me, but they're slightly, suggestive that somebody else could take how they makes them feel. For instance, Naive the current single is about me being involved in the wrong gang when I was younger. And on TikTok, I'm seeing girls kind of giving 2 fingers up to their ex-boyfriends, saying, this is me, I'll be fine on my own without you. So it's nice that it's being interpreted by different people in different ways, but that's the whole, for me, that's when I know that happens, I feel like I've done a good job and with the lyrics, because people are taking it as their own, which is the whole point. I write the stuff anyway,
Well, I'm loving the new single, and especially with we've had a really tough time, with lockdown, and it's such a happy song. It kind of makes you want to go on holiday. So are you happy with the response that you've had for the single so far?
I am, yeah. It's done good. It's had a lot of streams. It's had a lot of people have seen it. The problem is there's no visual, really. We did a mashup of palm trees and beaches in Thailand, but you know, the actual music video was going to be shot in Malibu in California. It was going to be me performing in like a cocktail bar on a beach, you know, that kind of like, because the whole idea was, the song is about, you know, overcoming adversity, but we decided to kind of go along that kind of pop reggae production, because it was coming into the summer, and, you know, people need, as you say, something a bit uplifting rather than, you know, most people are throwing out ballads, and I was like, if I hear another dreary ballad, I'm gonna go mad, you know. So so we've held the ballads until maybe Christmas, when things are a bit more happier. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy. The only thing is just, I think most singles need a visual. You know, we're becoming very visual now, and that's the only downside. But you know, we've kind of got to deal with the hand that we've been dealt. You know.
And with Naive, obviously, you as an artist would have put a lot of work into this, and it's kind of like your baby as such. So, is there a sense of nerves when you're about, say, midnight, when the song's about to come out? Do you get nervous on how it's going to be received by the fans and the public, or how it's going to do in the charts? Like, what are the feelings that you get?
Absolutely, because, you know, when you put out a song, everybody in your team could say, oh, that's great, but evidently you don't really know if it's great until you get feedback from the public. So it is always nerve-wracking, but I'm quite confident. If I play it to like 10 people and they all like it, then I'm like, okay, well, even if 6 out of 10 would have liked it, I know it's a good contender. So before we pick the singles, we always give it to around 10 different people, and they all listen. Yeah, that's good, or could be better. But it is slightly nerve-wracking, but I think because I've been doing it for quite a while now, I've got like a little loyal fan base, and then you know, collectively, that's kind of why we're staggering the singles now, because I find that by releasing a single every 2 or 3 months rather than putting one big body of work out there, you do get new listeners and new people following the music, because with every single that gets released as a single, it gets different playlists and different stations come on involved. You know, that was one of the reasons I decided to do a subgenre album rather than just being pigeonholed into one genre, because then, as you know, different stations have different genres, and so you may put yourself in pop and then you might wipe out a little. So I wanted to be as open as possible, you know, within the market, but also to the listeners as well, because not everybody likes out and out pop. Some people like pop rock, some people like electro. So for me, it was about having that diversity with the record, which it seems to be working that way, you know. But yeah, it's always nerve-wracking, but I'm always confident that the people that already follow me will like it. You know, I think once you've established a nice following, you could pretty much put anything out and they're gonna like it, you know, because it's more of a personal thing for them. You know, the person that they like musically is continuing to release songs. I mean, it's quite sad because a lot of people have stopped, you know, and a lot of people have been dropped because there's no touring, there's no revenues coming in. So, and initially I was like, do we stop releasing? And the manager was like, well, I don't think so. I think you should continue. And you know, you don't make it all about you. Just put something out there to keep it, you know. And so that's why we also use Naive, because it was a good pop song, you know, a good up-tempo track, which seems to make people smile. So I'm happy about it.
And is it going to be part of an upcoming album? So what's the plan in regards to an album? Because obviously you've got material that you could, I guess, make one.
Yeah. So the total idea would be to release the album over probably the next 6 months. Initially, it was going to be initially we wanted to put it all out, and then the manager said, you know, it's better to stagger it. So Naive is number 5 out of 10. So the next single will be out probably October, but I think the album will be fully serviced by next February. And then hopefully, you know, if the touring starts to come back, then at least I can, because I had some tours planned, you know, Anastasia was going on tour, so I was going to be a support slot for her. And then it just all got cancelled. So I was just like, do you know what? And it's so sad because growing up, my mother was obsessed with Anastasia. So she'd always be on the radio, do you know what I mean? Or, you know, back in those, like 15 years ago, she was like massive, you know? So to be able to go on tour with someone like that, I was like, oh my goodness, this is, my mum's going to be made up, you know? But then it got, I kind of knew something bad was coming when the tour operators were like cancelling in February and March tours for like October, November. And I just thought, well, that's a bit strange to be that far, you know, to be cancelling tours that far in advance. So I'm happy to be able to still be released, because the label, thank goodness, have supported the decision to carry on releasing, you know. But without touring, there's really no way to get out there, you know, unless you're a massive #1 selling act, which I'm not. You know, I'm an independent artist, so it's quite hard other than touring. I mean, how do you get out there, you know? So that's annoying for me, really, because I really wanted to get at least 3 tours under my belt towards the back end of the year. But, you know, there's always next year, so we'll see what happens.
So where for music, because some people, it kind of runs in their veins, and they come from a musical family. So did you grow up around music? Do your family work in the industry?
Well, my uncle, funny enough, was a sailor, and he used to be in the band on the ship. So, and he used to look after me as I was growing up, because my parents, obviously, they worked and were busy. So he would always come around with a guitar, you know, and then that was probably my age would have been like, you know, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then some of my family had pubs and bars and restaurants. And so I'd always be grabbing the karaoke on a Sunday and, you know, getting involved musically. And then, you know, from there, you kind of find your voice. And so school, I was always pushed into more of a musical position. And then I just decided, you know, I want to go to music school and I want to actually learn the fundamentals of what music is, rather than just being able to sing. You know, I didn't really write any songs till I was probably in my late teens. And so, because it is hard to do that if you don't feel like you've been given that gift. But I think songwriting is, if you're musical, I think you just need the confidence to, everybody, you know, I think we all react to melodies. I don't think people react to lyrics. They listen to, it's the melody first and then the lyrics. So if you can appreciate a good melody, you can definitely write a song, but it's about, it's just a mind-boggling thing for me to write, because when somebody says, well, how do you do it? I have no idea. I mean, I could be having a conversation with you now, and the melody will just come into my head, and I have to like go, just give me a second, and I get the phone out and voice record just the melody. Yeah. And then when I go into the studio, they'll say, well, have you got anything? I'll go, well, actually, yeah, I've got these melodies that I don't know where they've come from, but they just keep repeating in my mind. It's just weird, you know? And then, of course, you'll pick a subject and then you write the lyrics to the subject, which obviously, you know, will all rhyme given the melody formula that you put in place. So, very, very strange. But I seem to go all around the houses with these questions. I hope you can forgive me.
No, it's great just to hear the passion that you've got, and to actually hear about the process when it comes to it, because I would never have thought that actually the melody comes first and then the lyrics follow. So it's actually nice to hear everything that goes into making a track.
Yeah, I mean, for me, certainly it's about melodies first. I don't know. It's just the weirdest thing ever. Now, I'll work with other people that'll just use a pen and a paper, and they'll just write lyrics, you know, because maybe they're great at poetry, whereas I don't even read poetry. I just for some strange reason, my strength is being able to put really cool melodies that are repetitive, what you would call a hook.
Yeah.
And I just think it's like anything. If you hear a song and it repeats and repeats in your head, like for weeks after, you know that's the melody that's repeating. It's not necessarily the lyrics, you know. So I'm happy that that's my strength, because I wasn't a musician. I could never play, but now I can play guitar. So I can't, because I thought, well, I can't really construct music, so maybe I should learn the guitar. So now, being in a band, you see, I didn't need to, because they played the instruments and I sung. So, but now I'm able to play the guitar. So it makes the writing process a lot easier, because now I can actually add music to that melody, or I can turn the melody that's in my brain into a chord progression on a guitar. So yeah, so it's mad. But I don't know how I write music. It just seems to happen. It's weird.
Naturally to you. I've got to say, it's been great talking to you, and like I said, I genuinely love the new track. It's one of those feel-good songs. It makes you want to go on holiday, like where you are now. So,
well, look, Hawaiian shirt, you know, a lot going on.
You look incredible as well. You just look, like you said, most people have either put on weight or look depressed, and you just look really well. So,
the sun helps. Thank you very much. But yeah, skipping is great. So anyone that wants to do something that's fun and strips the fat, the skipping is amazing, I have to say, and it's very low impact on your joints as well. So, you know, your first week you'll be in agony, but after that, you know, it's plain sailing now. I'm made up, and I also find it quite cool, because I've never trained in a way where I've used my body, you know. So people are always obsessed with lifting up weights, and now I'm just doing, like, I've got one of them ab rollers, so that kind of is it's an amazing thing, because it tones the whole body. And then, you know, 100 press-ups a day and 100 sit-ups, and, you know, you can do I've learned how to do pull-ups, and so you actually don't need a lot of equipment to keep yourself in check. You know, I mean, I'm never going to be an athlete, but I'm happy that when I'm running now, something doesn't move in another way. You know, like your stomach, because I do put weight on very easily. You know, so I have to be very careful. But yeah, so all them people worrying out there, you know, a bit of sit-ups, press-ups, and pull-ups will sort you out. Absolutely.
Well, it's been amazing. And people can get you on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Kris James, just type that in and then you come up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the easiest thing is to just Google Kris with a K James. Otherwise, it's just krisjamesmusic.com, and then everything's there. It's kind of, it's an easier way to be able to, you know, rather than having to navigate through all the socials. So yeah, that's simple.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me. Have a great day.
Brilliant. Thanks.